you seeking sanctuary, my dear?
Yes, Father. I'm seeking absolution for my sins.
And pray tell, my dear.
My mother was murdered by Vikings when I was a child. And each year my father and I would visit the sacred ruin to pray for her. Our pilgrimage was not long ago. But something happened while we were there. Something we never expected. We were ambushed by a lone warrior. A warrior we knew well. One by one, each soldier fell. My father shielded me and shouted to me to flee before he was attacked himself. So I ran and never looked back. I walked for days. Several passed before I was lucky enough to run into a travelling market, where I collapsed, exhausted. They fed me and gave me water, a horse, and a cloak to keep me warm. They would have also given me an escort, but for fear of them coming to harm if I was ambushed again, I ordered them to remain. They protested, but disobeying a princess is punishable by death, so I was allowed to go my way. was lost for a long time. I eventually made it home to an almost empty castle. I told my sister how we were ambushed, and that it was by someone we knew. That warrior's name was Robert. He was once the head of the royal guard, entrusted by my father to look after my sister and I when he wasn't around. He was his best warrior, and I loved him. But no one knew of our love, as he came from a peasant family, and so we could not be seen together in that way. Then one day, he simply disappeared, and I had never seen or heard from him since. He had broken my heart. My father had been drawn into another war with the Viking hordes and had to leave, not knowing where I was, or even if I was alive. He had also sent many men out to find me, and so there was virtually no one left in the castle. The ambush had taken us completely by surprise, as it is a great sacrilege to fight within the sacred ruins. I knew Robert would never commit such a sacrilege without good reason, so I knew there was something wrong straight away, something motivating him beyond any normal means. I had no idea what he wanted, where he had been, or why he had left me. Perhaps it was the shame of betraying my father. Perhaps it was the fact that he could not bear the idea of what would happen to me if people knew that I had fallen in love with a peasant. I was next in line for the throne, but I could never be queen if I was in love with a peasant, even if he was the head of the royal guard. I had always consoled myself with this fact. I had always wanted to believe that that was why he had left. Maybe he had returned for me. Unfortunately, this didn't seem to be the case, as we got report that a small group of Vikings had been seen entering the tunnel under the castle that was no longer guarded thanks to the war. I quickly grabbed a handful of men to head them off, half hoping Robert would be with them, half hoping he wasn't. Robert wasn't with the Vikings in the tunnel, which at least was some sort of comfort. But unfortunately for me, the group had a Jarl with them I didn't stand a chance against. I was knocked unconscious, whereupon I had a vision. Unbeknownst to me, my sister knew of our love, and full of jealousy and hatred for Robert, she plotted against us. I had always known she coveted the throne, but I thought she loved me as a sister. I never expected she would betray me for it. But she did, and she used Robert as a pawn. She had obviously sent word to my father, who was on a campaign at the time. She had Robert arrested, which would explain his sudden disappearance. He had not left me. He had been banished. The vision ended as I heard one of the guards calling my name.
Princess, go!
I thought it strange that the Jarl had only rendered me unconscious. A Viking of that rank could have torn me to pieces at will, but he didn't. And I had no idea why, until we came out of the tunnel. Robert was there, waiting for us. He had planned it all along, knowing that I would take the remaining guards into the tunnel. He began to try to explain that he had been betrayed, not realizing that I now knew. Just then my sister appeared. she plunged a knife into Robert's side, causing him to collapse. As I held him in my arms, dying, I knew there was no recovery from that kind of wound. I knew I had lost him. She had taken him from me. Overcome with rage, I took the knife from his side and plunged it into her. As I ran, I remembered one of the nights I had been lost. I had sat for hours contemplating my life, my family, those I had lost, and those who remained. I thought of the things that I had taken for granted, such as those I loved and the life I had. It's funny how being alone like that really makes you appreciate everything you have. At that point, I was unaware of my sister's betrayal, so I still missed her terribly. I missed my father, who spent most of his time on campaigns, and I missed my mother. I would have given anything to be sat with them all. And I actually thought it might be possible again someday, but I had no idea of what was to come. The jealousy and violence had destroyed all our lives. It was tragic. I don't think I'll ever understand why people do it to each other. My sister's jealousy of my love, and her desire for the throne. My father's need to command over all, even the man who loved me. And the warring Vikings who had murdered my mother. All destructive, all pointless in the end. A wise man once said, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." We can only hope that he was right.